What's up, Black Comic Lords? I feel absolutely terrible. I've got the flu. But we have some great guests tonight. One of them being the writer of Green Lantern Corp. So I have to channel my power of inner will and overcome my sickness and kick it out of existence, so I can bring you this dope episode of Behind the Panels with Paul. As you all know, we have had a mandate from Joe Illich, the mayor of comics, 100,000 copy challenge to sell this book, the DC Universe, new DC Universe, Dakota Incident book, and make it an undeniable success. Now, we've had a lot of debate in the spaces about Milestone, DC, Indies, the whole lot of debate. But at the end of the day, this is about our community. This is about us. This is about a company that represents the best of us. And along those lines, we have some really dope creators to continue that tradition. So without further ado, Mr. Producer Lord Chocolate. Chocolate's in the back wings today. I don't know what's going to happen. He hasn't put anybody on yet. There we go. I have to me, my Avengers. It's incredible. Love having you guys on here.
Thanks for having me. Just to get this off the record, the way it was set up in the beginning is like I am a co-producer. I am not a co-producer. I am a participant. I am part of the best writers' room in comics. That is what I
am. Joe, you are a humble man, so I'll let you slide with that. But you are a constant inspiration and force within our community and to me personally, and so thus you get the co-producer credit.
Thank you.
You're the mayor of comics, man. I mean that.
Oh man. God.
All right. To your left, our right, Nicholas Draper Ivy.
Yo.
You are. This is brand. I have been chasing this brother for 3 years to come on this show. We have interviewed him here and there behind the scenes with DC, but glad to finally have you, brother. Glad to finally have you, Morgan Hampton.
Hello, hello.
My fellow Trekkie brethren.
Yes.
You and I need to talk some Trek, man. You and I need to talk some Trek. It's a good time to be a Trekkie.
Yes, it is.
You doing it on Green Lantern Corp. Thank you for that. The blackest Green Lantern series of all. Shh, don't tell anybody who did it. The logo. And Stephanie Williams, who I predict by the end of the year will, of course, take over the world because she's clearly going in that direction.
I hope so, because actually, I don't know. The world's kind of messed up. I don't know if I want that burden, but
that's why I need you to run it, Steph.
It'll be a lot. I'm strict now, so I don't know.
Between Roots of Madness, Street Sharks, Temporal, incredible 90s sci-fi action. You're working on Wonder Woman. I mean, it's just
don't forget the game. Threads of Destiny.
I'm telling you, Threads Destiny. Back to our Star Trek stuff. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Thank you.
But there's someone who wants to say hi to all of you for all your contributions on this Milestone book. Chop.
Oh man!
There he is.
It's the crew. It's the people who actually made this book happen and brought this whole thing to life. I cannot believe that I'm in the same kind of space with you guys. It's like being with legends.
What are you talking about?
For you. I can't believe you guys actually pulled that whole thing off. That's what I should say. Can't believe you guys did it.
We had to show up.
It's great. Sorry about my weird things in here.
No worries.
Dennis, appreciate you stopping by. I know you're a busy man, but I just asked if he'd pop in and just say hi to you guys. I know he appreciates your hard work on this. You're a goat, man. And you and your fellow founders at Milestone, I think were honored pretty well with this book.
I think
So,
it's a terrific book, and all this goat stuff is starting to get to me, and it's actually starting to make me feel old because all I keep hearing about, man, you don't know when I was a kid, and this dude's 40. When I was a kid, I used to read your stuff, and I was so inspired, and look at me now, and I'm like, oh my god, And so I'm hearing that a lot, and it's like kind of freaking me out. I'm a working artist just like you guys. It's the same.
You are.
Same, nothing's
But you are a
Working
living
on-
legend.
It's more than that.
Working on Nightwing.
Nightwing. I was about to say that. It's on pre-orders this week.
Look, as soon as I heard that, I called my comic shop. I was like, "You can add Nightwing to my pull list."
Yep.
I added it
A lot
last.
of y'all were checking on Nightwing before, but now y'all like y'all.
No, I really wasn't.
I really wasn't checking.
It wasn't on my pull list. I was like,
Well,
"Oh, this is cool."
I've
Tom Taylor,
told-
Bruno Redondo.
I've told people this, and I've said in the interviews and stuff. I had no idea who Nightwing was when they asked me to do it. I'm
what? That's
serious.
my type of carrying on.
I'm serious. I had no idea. I had not read a Nightwing comic book. I just vaguely knew. I was like, oh, he's Batman. He's Robin. He used to be Robin. I know that. So that's
Right.
all I knew. I'm like, this is
Crazy.
the Grayson, and he's kind of grown up. He got different costume. So, but I didn't know anything about any backstories. I didn't know that he was a huge fan favorite. I knew nothing.
Yeah,
But I'm
you
finding
gotta-
all that out now. Like, oh my God, what have I got myself into?
You better be prepared to draw some butt shots because his
Yeah, I
past
was
is
gonna
of
say,
No,
high
no,
value
looking over the
to
shoulder
DC.
butt shots. Let's get it right. You gotta be looking over the
Right
shoulder
the
at
window.
you while he's showing his butt, and the hair has to fall just right.
That's right. That's right.
No pressure.
All this
No
Oh
stuff.
pressure.
wow.
Right.
When your editor goes, oh my God, he's so handsome. You're like,
It's funny.
that's great.
I ran into your buddies Jimmy Palmiotti and Walt Simonson this weekend at OAX, which took place this past week.
Isn't that a great con? Oh my
That was
God.
great. It's a great con,
I was there
man.
last year. They didn't invite me this year, bastards. But
I'll talk to Casper about that because that's you were a hit last year.
That's an
it was great
oversight.
last year. Yeah. So, but I'm glad it was good this year. So you saw Walter, and who else?
And Jimmy Palmiotti,
Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy's great.
Dan Jurgens was there too, but I didn't get a chance to talk to him.
Dan's cool.
Yeah.
We just did a cover together.
Yeah, they all had positive things to say about you.
Oh well, that's very nice.
About you.
That's
Yeah.
nice of them. Very nice. Well, I love Walter, and Jimmy's a good pal. So,
Yeah.
it's all good.
Great.
All right. Well, let's get into this book, Dennis. I know you got stuff that you want to go do. I promised I wasn't going to take up too much of your time. Chocolate, you want to pull up the slides? All right.
This cutout the heads is frying me right now.
Are you making fun of my artwork?
I'm going with this.
I think
I'm going
Joe's
along
is
with
my
it.
favorite. Like just the
It's the
Yeah.
hair. It's the hair.
I also like that I'm over hardware because in a lot of ways, like I am Curtis.
Yeah.
You know.
I
No,
had
my favorite is Nicholas Draper Ivy's.
Oh,
There you
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So
He's
serious.
looking at me like he wants to kill.
He's an
somebody.
artiste.
Yeah.
Like it's so intense.
No,
Like-
no.
And
I
Dennis,
didn't know comics were that heavy.
They are. You know that.
and Dennis, you know about Nicholas's sword play, right?
Yes, I do.
Oh boy.
He'll cut your head off. He'll cut it clean off.
That's it. That's it.
All right. So
That's
why
it.
don't you guys start by first telling me how did this book come into being?
Wow.
Marquise.
Joe.
100%.
Draper.
Marquis?
Every time
Yeah.
we do an interview regarding anything DC, his name pops up.
As it
As
Yeah.
he, we started this over almost a year ago. I think it was in April.
Yeah.
He started the initial reach outs. And then May through the summer and then the fall. So we've been working on this for the better part of a year. And
I remember about a year ago, probably about a year ago, when your book had just wrapped up, Joe, with Shadow Cabinet. I was at the Silent Summit, and Marquise was there, And I was like, this can't be it, right? Like we can't just put these characters back in the vault, right? And he's like, don't worry, I'm working on something. And then fast forward a couple months to when they assembled us all together.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Super Friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So let's jump. I mean, look, there's been an interesting history with Milestone. I mean, we had the original run in the 90s. We had Milestone Forever, which was, what was that? Late 90s, early 2000s, Joe?
Like 2000.
I think, yeah, it might have been 2000, 2001, because I feel like
Or
the Static Shock
2002.
cartoon,
Right.
yeah, the
Right
cartoon,
around
which
that
came out in
time.
2000, led to the resurgence for a while. Thus,
Yeah.
Static Shock rebirth of the cool, thus Milestone Forever,
Right.
thus,
Yep.
yep.
And then we had the Static Shock comic book,
That's the
8-issue
reverse.
comic book.
Oh yeah, is that the new 52 one?
Yeah,
New
around the
52
new
one, yeah.
52 time. And then Static was brought back in the Teen Titans as
Yes.
well during the new 52.
Felicia
era.
D. Henderson was writing at that time too.
Yeah, she was.
Right.
She was.
So here's the thing. I remember I'm old enough to be back in the day to be an OG Milestone fan. Pre-ordered the first issue of Hardware back in the day. Hardware was the first book to drop. Is it true that he was supposed to originally be the center of the Milestone universe, like the lead character?
No, not that
It
I
was
know.
not that you know.
I don't
of.
think we had. Well, Joe wasn't there at the very beginning, but I don't think we had a lead guy. If it was anyone, you know, in Dwayne's mind was probably Icon because he was writing Icon. So that
Oh,
was
interesting.
probably the lead.
I just thought it. I thought it was Hardware because just like even the poster that's in the back of the both of you, he's the one out front. So I thought it was supposed
that's because I drew it that way.
okay because he's a badass dude.
It wasn't because I was like trying to put any particular, you know, this guy's a leader, and then this guy's a second leader, and then this lady's no.
Right.
I just drew it because let me see, probably because I wanted to put the chains in the front like that, and no one ever really done nothing like that.
Yeah.
So it was all a compositional decision, but not a character, not a character decision like that to make him the lead. He was just, you know, if it was an Iron Man and Spider-Man and the Hulk and Captain America and Thor, that would have been Iron Man, but he doesn't make him the leader.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Well, it's certainly Static blew up.
Static is the one that blew up.
Static is the one that blew up. If there was ever a DC, closest DC's ever come to having a character within their reigns, like Spider-Man is to Marvel, it would probably be Static. And that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot. I mean, you had a character that the only thing was missing was merch, because in terms of a whole generation of kids growing up on that cartoon and being introduced to the Milestone universe with that cartoon, it was tremendous, just like the Super Friends were for men of a certain age like myself back in the day, as for their introduction to DC Comics.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into this book, because you took a lot of the Milestone universe and congealed it all together in a way that actually works. All right, let's first talk about your team. You broke this up into acts. Joe, can you talk about this?
So this was really, you know, Marquise's vision, where once we had an idea of what the story was and that it would have a framing sequence, you know, with Beacon in the future and then Beacon in the near future instead of the far future from Batman Static Beyond. So then he kind of matched up the writer to the chapter.
Yeah.
And, you know, let's keep it real. I think we all wanted the Suicide Squad chapter. I mean, come on. But, you know, Marquise was like, well, listen, dude, since you were there in the beginning, I think you're the best choice for the voice of the early iteration. And I said, okay. So then it was a matter of, well, how do you tackle that, right? You don't want it to just sound like like a reciting of information, like this happened and this happened, because that's, you know, that's not writing. So then I was thinking about Beacon. He's trapped in the time stream. He doesn't know if he's going to get out. He doesn't know. Like, he just lost everything. He's trapped in a time stream. And in a situation like that, you need a tether. You need an emotional tether. And I felt that emotional tether was his mother. So basically what I was putting forth, in his mind, he's talking to his mother. And when I thought about the narrative style of it, you know, Rocket, Raquel Irvin, who's my favorite Milestone character, she's one of the most intelligent people on the planet. She is inspired by Toni Morrison and Maya Angelou and Octavia Butler. She understands sociology, philosophy. So I feel like Beacon was raised by a genius, a humane genius. And so when I thought about what's the narrative style, I really thought about, you know, like Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings, which really has a tone of affection when she's talking about her brother Bailey. So part of what I wanted to communicate to this is a son having a final talk with his mom about the magic of this time, right? And how you don't take it for granted that there was a time when the city had no heroes. And then this terrible thing happens. And then one day this kid shows up riding lightning. And he's like, I'm a hero. And then Raquel Irvin sees that and she's like, this is possible.
Yeah.
So she's able to go to Augustus and say, it's possible, right? And then you have something like Curtis Metcalf. You know, I think what's cool about this book is I think because it's a Milestone DC thing, there are a lot of people who are going to come into this book for the first time. They're meeting these characters for the first time. And one of the things that I wanted to communicate about Curtis is that being hardware was not on his bingo card. The dude wanted to be he wanted to be a partner in one of the most influential companies on the planet, wearing $2,000 suits and living the good life.
Right.
He had no idea that he was going to become this. And that's kind of what life does to you. Like, life throws your plans out the window and it puts you in a position where you have to become something else. And so totally that's what I wanted to do with that first chapter, you know.
And you start with something that always gives me headaches, which is a time travel story. Several years from now, you're like, what the hell's going on? You see this character, it looks like a male version of Rocket based on the outfit. He's clearly talking to Virgil. This is Beacon, as you indicated earlier, Rocket's son, Amistad.
Right.
Now,
this is from Nick's Prelude.
This is Nick's Prelude.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the purple power set, which is very reminiscent to what Rocket used in terms of her power set. What is his powers and where does his powers come from?
Nick, you're up.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, that purple is actually from a different character. That purple is coming from
Shiv.
Yeah. But it's pretty much like the same power set as Rocket, you know. But the thing is that how he goes about it, he's very much influenced by Virgil. Like how he uses his powers, and he's kind of a little bit more flashy. But you know, he'll use create like energy barriers and stuff like that, and like protect people. Like he protects like those people from getting blown to smithereens by Shiv. But oh my god, I can't continue this conversation without talking about Edwin's art.
Yeah,
it is so good. It is so great.
Yeah.
One of the things I always say about Edwin Gallman is every time I see his art, it just keeps getting better. Because I remember several years ago when he first popped on the internet, I was like, this guy's good. And then every time he dropped something else, it was even better than the last thing he dropped.
He's a real deal.
Always,
between Edward and Nicholas, and my God.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's a synergy there because we went to school together. Like we went to SCAD. So there were things that we just understood. You know what I mean?
It feels like that. It feels like the work of one person.
Yeah. We're just in sync with one another. And
it just
whole feeling.
If I heard that you had drawn this, I wouldn't have been surprised. I mean, oh yeah, of course.
You know what?
If I heard that, Edward had done the whole thing, I'd be, oh yeah, of course.
You know what it is? It's like he was able to really capture, like I would write down what I wanted the shot to look like, and he just knew instinctively like how to do it. And that was really cool. It's particularly that shot too. I was like, damn, that's exactly what I wanted.
That's a great angle.
Yeah.
It's like a movie.
Yeah.
It says here, you and Gear don't have any super high-tech holding cell. Who's Gear?
Gear is Richie.
Who's Richie?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, his old friend. Okay.
Yeah. But this is all
on the TV show.
Yeah. Yep. This whole bit, like this is also a joke to like the first little static short I did where they warp one of the characters to like this holding cell. And he's just like, you guys don't have that thing that I can use right now? He's just like,
got you.
Need for that. Also, I'm glad that Dennis is here. A lot of how I wrote this is kind of based off of how I've talked to Dennis, and Dennis was just like, okay, I gotta go now.
That's funny.
I need help.
I gotta go now.
You just need to get to work. Is it? Yeah.
And let's also give credit to the colorist Andrew Dowhouse, who is a beast.
Yeah.
He's a beast. He also colored DCKO, The Kids Are All Fight. So that now iconic page with the return of Static, that was Andrew Dowhouse.
No. Did you mention this book is sold out? Did you know it was sold out?
We just found out today.
Gone. You can't get it. Got to go into a second printing or no one's going to ever see it again. So, good job, guys.
Oh, yay. Where's the
Excellent
applause?
job.
Where's the applause?
That brings up a point.
Sold out.
Chocolate's moving kind of slow tonight. That brings up a point I want to make to anyone who's in the chat. First of all, thank you all who supported this book. Really,
Thank you.
I know from all the shows that we've done on this, you guys have been hardcore, trying to do your best to make this book sell out. So thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Joe Illich, for your incredible campaign, by the way.
Yep.
Joe is a one-man marketing machine. I've never seen someone grind so hard to promote a book like Joe.
Reggie and I were just like falling over ourselves.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, listen, if anything ever deserved it, it was this.
Yeah.
So here's what I want to recommend to anyone who did not get the book, that wants to get the book, or you want to get extra copy, and it's like it's sold out everywhere. Go to your LCS. Listen to me. Go to your LCS and ask them to reorder the book.
Yep.
That way, there'll be a message sent to DC and the distributors. Hey, I'm sold out. People want more of this book. Go ahead and reprint it. The goal is to get them to do a second print.
That's right.
And hopefully we can get even more dope artists.
I think it'll go into a second printing. I think it'll go into a second printing.
100%.
Oh yeah.
I'd say we can consider that happening in that.
Yeah. All right. I'll just throw it out there. Torrin Clark. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Very covered.
And also support other Black comic books.
Always.
And mainstream.
That is
the point. Us, it's not just Miles Morales. It's Midnight Tiger. It's all of them.
Midnight Tiger.
It's all the same fight.
Yes,
it is really not a binary proposition. There are people who their thinking is limited to binary propositions: us or them, win or lose, you or me.
Right. even when it's us and us.
It is.
Oh, wow. Wait a minute.
Right? What do you mean us against them? It's us and
Oh.
us, right? Who are you looking at?
Oh.
That's just
Now
weird.
you're talking.
That's
Us
weird to me.
versus us.
Very.
Weird.
Message.
100%. 100%. So the same way the community helped make this succeed, the community can do that again and again and again. And what we have to understand is that this was, as far as I could perceive, Dennis, this is what you and the others wanted. Like you wanted to empower people.
Yeah, of course.
It wasn't just creators you incubated.
It wasn't just
incubated.
us. It was everybody.
Yeah.
It was for everybody.
Yeah.
And if you remember at the time when we came out, several other publishers came out also.
Yes.
It was in the 90s, right? So it was even rougher getting, but several other publishers came out, Black publishers.
Yes.
And what they were trying to do was create some buzz for themselves by being against us. Tried and true tactic, right? But the thing that happened was we never said anything about any other publishers except support their work.
Imagine that.
That was it. Brother Man didn't come out against us, or anything like that, but we're like, support Brother Man. Support Ania. Support these people who say they hate whatever. Go buy Black comic books. Because the point is not to fight. We knew what they were trying to do, which was to get attention. But our goal was to create Black characters, to create characters of color for universal people, for everyone. But it started with us. That was our mission. So anything else was just some side stuff. And that kind of stuff, even back then, was happening, But they can't, if they have nothing to push against, there's nothing to push against. So you can be mad at Milestone all you want, but if Milestone's not replying and we're just doing our thing and being successful, that's your answer. That's your answer. That's the only real answer you can give.
That's the
So you're
only
saying,
real-
Mr. Cowan, that everybody should get to work, right? Because if we're too busy talking and arguing back and forth, no stories or anything.
There's really no point. Here's the thing. If we're arguing back and forth about who's blacker, who's supporting what Black indie books and the big two and all this bullshit, who's really winning?
No.
Right.
Who's benefiting
getting
from that
done.
argument? Who's getting what from that? The only people getting anything from that are people who are trying to divide you and watching us argue like a bunch of fools and cracking up at the sidelines while they're doing whatever. That's ridiculous. You never give people that. What? No. They look over here, they should see nothing but solidarity. For real.
Yep.
Whatever who's doing what. Oh, you speak against one, you speak against all of us. You say something about Jamal Ingles, Midnight Tiger, you say something about Static. That's the way it should be.
Yeah. I mean,
right? That's how you win.
And that's how it'll always be here at Black Comic Lords.
That's how you win. Any other way is just divide and conquer, and you're just looking kind of stupid. And you're not winning. And you're not selling anything, and it's all bad. So, come on now. So our success and, this whole Milestone Initiative success is everybody's success. Those are Black characters. Those are Black characters with DC's Black characters making people who never even thought about buying these books buy them. Right? So Stephanie's name getting in front of people who never saw her name, and Morgan's name, and Joe Illich's name, and Nicholas's name, and getting in front of people who never even thought about checking out none of this stuff. But Superman and Batman on the cover, so it must be something to it. Now you're getting noticed. Now you're in that area. That's where you want to be.
Yeah.
Wonder
Woman is the reason why my sales went up.
When you got there was by doing Black characters. And sticking to what, doing the thing. And then pretty soon those people will come to you. That's what's happening now.
That's the point. That's the point.
That's why we're doing what we do. You know. So sorry, I went up on a tangent.
No. The community
Good
needs to
tangent.
hear that.
It
The
is
community needs to hear that.
so cool.
And it means so much more to have it come from you, someone who's been there and done that. And the most
And still
important
doing it.
and still doing it.
And go.
There's nothing new under the sun. This is not a new debate.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination.
No.
Issues of solidarity and crabs in the barrel and all of that.
I just want y'all to just realize that the people who are criticizing doing all that stuff versus the people who don't, who do the work, who actually just do the work and don't get involved in that shit. Who are you hearing from?
Yeah.
And in the past, we started this kind of stuff and couldn't finish it. Where are they now?
In the archives.
Violin.
And the people they were speaking against, where are they now? Right?
What I will tell you is that there's a variety of people that have reached out to me with kind congratulations about what we've done.
Same.
And, you know, they're successful Black entrepreneurs in this space.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like when you have your business apparatus together, when you have your quality together, when you can look in the mirror and be fully accountable, then there's no need for any emotions of resentment, negativity, attack. There is only, hey, congratulations. And the understanding that none of us have a free ride here. We're all working hard. And, you know, when it came to Static, and, you know, I said this before, but ideas are very important, you know. And Dennis, I don't know if y'all knew. I mean, I don't know if you can predict the impact that a character will have on people's lives. I will not mention the name. It is someone that is well known in animation. Years ago, before X became a sludge pool, someone posted an image of Static online on Twitter, and I liked it. And then we followed one another, and the person wanted to have a phone call, and we did. And the person said to me, when my brother and I were young, we were living a kind of life. Like we were out there in those streets. He said, we saw Static and it turned us in the other direction. And that's when I knew. I was like, this thing changes lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what I hope people understand is we're not fighting for a corporation. We're not fighting for enslavement. We are fighting for the immortality of ideas so that these things are here when we're gone, right? And this story was about that as a story and as metatext.
Fighting for a place at the table, fighting to be in the room.
Yeah.
Right?
And
still
yep.
fighting to be in the room. So
Yep.
I've heard that stuff about changing people's lives, how Static affected people. Like I said, I get a lot of people who are in their 40s now who watched it when they were a kid and it changed their lives. And we hear all that. And I appreciate it. I try not to think about it too much because that kind of gets in the way of storytelling and telling exciting stories. If you think every word you're putting down may affect somebody's life, you know, you don't want to necessarily do that. But, you know, Dwayne and I and Michael, you know, and Derek were very aware of kind of like the effect that we've had. We just try not to act like we've had that kind of effect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we just do it.
Yeah.
But I certainly appreciate it, Joe. Thank you.
Let's talk more about this book that you guys
Talk about the book.
Yeah.
All right. Clearly evident as Static is fighting Shiv that something's going on.
Beacon is fighting Shiv.
Beacon.
Did I say Static?
Yeah, you have to respect on his name. All right.
Oh my god. I apologize.
Emotional damage.
I don't even know where Chocolate's getting these. All
I don't.
right, so Beacon's fighting Shiv. Temporal anomaly, Star Trek, love that. Happening. He's about to jump through the time stream. Now, we talked about his power set, right? This suit that he's wearing, is this like a modification of the inertial winder belt that he had?
I don't know. Maybe. I know it was something that Marquise was like, put this in there. Because when that was originally written, it was that whole sequence was a lot more brutal. And Marquise was just kind of like, Jesus Christ, Nick. We can't have them all burst into flames like this and burn into. I was like, okay, fine. Well, make it into like this white kind of thing. And then he was like, oh, well, maybe his suit, does the thing and activates it. And I was like, okay, well, then I'll just put that in there. But originally it was going to be kind of like, when I first read it, it just kind of just engulfed him and he didn't know how he got in there. But then Marquise had the idea of it being like, oh, his suit activates and does it. So, which makes me wonder, well, I'm like, can he always do this? But I guess it's like a super, super, super emergency setting for like dire things. He can't just do it for every minor inconvenience that happens. Like, oh, I don't like how today went. Let me just go back in time and, fix it. I think it's just it's an emergency thing. The opening was really tough because I had to like also consider what everybody else had written, and everybody else there is much, much more experienced writer than me. So
you got to see everyone else's pieces as you were writing yours?
Yeah. We all like looked at, we were all like in a room together. So we got to kind of like, well, is this going to happen? And that's going to happen. Then we got the scripts and you're looking over stuff and you just read, and I'm reading everything, like Joe would send something and then like Morgan would send something, Stephanie would send something. And I would just be here in this office, just sinking into my chair.
Oh my
yeah. Like how does that, how do you sit in a writer's room with yourself, Stephanie, Joe Illich, Morgan Hampton? How do you all sit in a writer's room and you're like, oh damn, Morgan just wrote that.
Oh, let me tell you something about Morgan. Morgan pissed me off so many times. I would read something that Morgan wrote and I'm like, fuck, that's good.
Yeah, everyone's got to step their game up. Like,
that's how it works. I mean, Dennis, I think can speak to that. That's how art studios work, right? Like if there's a studio of people, like you'll see, the table mate next to you be like, damn, that person's kicking it. I need to get back to my table and like kick it some more. So we were feeding off of one another. And
who had that moment, Joe? Who had the moment you're all in the writing room together and you read a bit from one of you and all of you like, damn.
Well, I'll say for me, it happened. Stephanie, well, I'll say this first. Like we all kind of developed what the whole story was going to be together before we ever sat down to write anything and like take any individual stories. And Steph turned her outline in first. That's the one with the Suicide Squad when they come to Dakota. And I remember reading that outline and I was already like, we got to show up, right? But when I read that outline, like I sat forward like, oh no, I got to lock the fuck in.
Yo.
Like this is no joke.
There was a line in that outline. It said 3 words. It said Captain Atom deployment. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like it's like that. Like they're bringing out biggest possible guns because, like real talk, like I'm 56. So I was in high school when post-crisis, like DC just like redid their whole line. I remember somewhere in the basement is definitely Captain Atom 1 by Pat Broderick and I think Jerry Conway. Definitely Suicide Squad #1 by John Ostrander and Luke McDonnell. So to be able to like have the Milestone characters like fight 1986 DC was bonkers.
Yeah.
Absolutely bonkers. And when she wrote that, I was like, best person for the job.
So
Best person to
Stephanie wrote that sequence with the Bronze Tiger and Pierce and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, on point.
Yep.
You guys are not letting me get
when I read it, when the advanced copies were given to us, I remember telling Marquise that for some reason I got very emotional reading that.
Yeah.
I couldn't even explain why, and then I realized what it was. I've seen our characters in print before, whatever, but I never seen them interact with DC characters like that. Like, not only they were just as good, maybe they were a little bit better. And just the whole, like, it wasn't acceptance. It was just more like, this is for real. Here we are, messing around with these characters. And the way she wrote it was so great that it got me emotional. I was just like, oh, get a little choked up here just seeing these characters interact with one another. This is so stupid. I gotta be tougher than this. So thank you for that, Stephanie, for breaking me down like that over some comic book characters. But
you are so welcome.
You certainly did.
Funny.
It's like, oh, so good.
I wasn't expecting to write something that was so action-packed, because usually when I'm brought in is for the more emotional, quieter beats. So when they were like,
that's your thing.
Thank you. I was like, Suicide Squad now. Big fan of John Ostrander's Suicide Squad.
Yes.
So I was definitely trying to evoke that boots on the ground. And we again started writing this back in October. So the fact that this entire story has been kind of clairvoyant in a way is also just wild. And I hated to do Bronze Tiger like that because I love that character. I really do.
Was it your choice to use Bronze Tiger?
Oh, for sure. Yes. Well, because I was trying to slide Vixen in there, but she wasn't a part of the squad at that time. So that's kind of how that ended up happening. Captain Boomerang is an ass, so he had to be there. And then Deadshot is Deadshot. He's just trying to, cut a check. But to have it through the lens of Bronze Tiger, because Joe talked about this earlier for Act 1, just speaking from the perspective, like, this is the golden years of the Suicide Squad. And then I knew that coming in for Act 2, it is the dismantling of that. And I was like, this has to be not only just action-packed, but it has to be emotional as well, because they built something beautiful, and now it's boots on the ground to destroy that. And these are characters who are very prideful, and as they should be. They've been taking care of Dakota City this entire time, Paris Island, all of that. So to have someone come in and try to move you off your turf, which you've been handling while they've been off concerned with something else, you better believe that Icon was going to bring it when they deployed Captain Atom. That Rocket, Static, Hardware, all of them were going to be there to show up for their city. So it was really an honor to be able to write something like that.
It was so great.
My only critique is that I needed 3 more pages of that battle.
Well, I would have, I got your 2 splash pages, because that's a no-no when you're doing an anthology.
Steph fought for those 2 double splashes. She got them. But real talk, I did ask for 48 pages.
It was such a damn good scene.
We were told, like, usually these things are like maybe 32 or something like that. Like, we got 40 pages, which was a good division of 10, 10, 10, and 10, right? But so listen, I mean, we told like a 4-issue story in 40 pages, right? Which isn't easy, but we all worked at it. And one of the things that happened, like, one of the things about being in a writer's room and jamming off each other is, like, with Steph's thing, like, I remember at one point she did something really cool, which was, like she said, because I had established from Beacon's perspective and thus his mom's perspective, like, you called this the golden year of Dakota. Like, So when the Suicide Squad rolls up in there, like the first thing you see is the poster of Dakota's heroes, right? And like we stand together. And I was just like, that's like I wouldn't have thought of that. But that is real. That's how people do their president, you know, like cities will do their mayors, their governors, and whatnot. And these were the first superheroes. They like Dakota was able to say, we have our own. So we are going to uplift them in every way we can. And so, like, just that shot where like you see these invaders and that poster there, like it just says so much.
That's great.
Yeah.
Part of the I don't know if it's a mandate or not, or one of the things that you guys sort of addressed was this merging of this fractured DC universe and the Milestone universe. Now, one of the things that's unique about DC Comics, and frustrating to me as someone who grew up on Marvel, is there's so many damn universes. Like every time there's like a crisis every few years that splits up the universe, and it's hard to follow. But you Milestone has less of that. Is there, because canon always pops up in our community chats, right? Is there a particular aspect of the DC universe that you fit this Milestone universe into, or is it more of a generic general thing for everything? What did you guys even were trying to do it like that?
Well, I kind of feel like that's why. Well, no, you go, Steph.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say, what made the most sense, like what fit the best. So that I think that's why picking the time when Luther was president made so much sense for quite obvious reasons. But you know, history would be able to change and the narrative would be controlled in that way, right? So because of that, I guess regardless of what universe, because of just who is in power in that way, that history has changed. And I'm so happy that we went about the story the way that we did, where it was an impact of government. Like is the reason why these characters were what you did not hear from. It was kind of like the call was coming from inside the house with this book, you know, in a way, right?
It's so crazy to have a president of the United States as a supervillain.
For real. Well, here's the thing about like Luthor, right? And I said this in an interview. Luthor does not wake up in the morning and say, I'm the bad guy, right? Like if you've ever read the Luthor graphic novel by Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermejo, Luthor wakes up in the morning thinking he's the savior of the human race. And anything required to save the human race is justifiable. And one of the things that the human race needs to be saved from is superhumanity. Superhumanity is an existential threat to the future of the human race. Right? So from our perspective, of course, like he is the villain. But his perspective is not that at all, right? And that's part of the fun of writing the villains, right? Like, yes, Joker is absolutely evil. I get that. But it's like when you get to write the Killmongers, when you get to write the Magnetos, you know, the Luthors, the Amanda Wallers, and so on and so forth. You're writing complex humans, yeah? And so that was part of, I think, the fun too. Like Morgan really got to lean into that. I got like a few lines with Luthor and like a few lines with Amanda Waller, so I'm good. But like, you know, like having to go into the backdoor deals and what happens, the compromises that are made and the whys, you know, that was really interesting.
So Luthor wants to prevent the superheroes for superpowered beings from having a prominent place in their society. So let's talk about how these people got their powers.
Yeah.
We had a reimagining of the Big Bang with Milestone 2.0, where in the original Milestone universe there was a gang war which led to children being gassed and the Big Bang babies being born. In Milestone 2.0, we somewhat alter that for the times and have it during a Black Lives Matters protest,
Right.
but the same end result. In this time jump where we have this altered reality, we still have Dakota, we still have Edwin Alva at the head of Alva Industries, we still have Curtis Metcalf as the one who is his right hand man and his heir apparent. But on the outside, he's viewed as the good guy, as the humanitarian. We even have you brought back Thomasina Jefferson. That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut.
That was Marquise's idea.
That's nice.
Yeah.
You have this idea of tagging the miscreants with a radioactive marker, giving us the means to track them down for later collection, get all the bad elements off our streets. I just can't imagine. This is kind of a weird situation where you're seeing a prominent black politician standing who has this prominent black businessman and brilliant mind next to him, having this conversation about other people of color. Talk about this scene.
Okay, so let's talk about that. I'm going to say as much as I can say without actually being a part of that community. But I have a mother, I have family members, black women. But what we all know is that black women are truly superhuman. They have to deal with things that black men don't have to deal with either. So you're talking about Thomasina. Right? Imagine what it took for Thomasina Jefferson to become the mayor. Okay. Then think about, what's the long range? Okay. So for her, what she's trying to achieve in Dakota is that Dakota is the perfect city because that can set her up to be governor, which can set her up to run for the Oval Office. So she's not thinking about it from the ground level perspective that you're talking about. She's thinking about it from a 10,000-foot view and perspective. She is the savior of her city. And if there are 4 gangs that are preventing her city from being perfect, and if there are a bunch of misguided idealists who are walking around with signs thinking it means a goddamn thing when they don't understand her responsibilities on a daily basis, they got to go.
You know what I found scary about this section of the book? Who was the writer on this section, by the way?
Me.
You were the writer. Who was the artist?
So good.
Valentine Delandra.
No, the answer is John Paul Leon. Because I swear to God, as I turn these pages, it's like, wait, is this like unreleased John Paul Leon artwork? And then it occurred to me, one of the reasons I've always loved Valentine Delandro's artwork is it reminded me so much of thematically the style that John Paul Leon, may rest in peace, brought to Milestone on his.
It was it was intended when Marquise and I thought about this.
Yeah,
this was intended to evoke quintessential Milestone. And you can't have quintessential Milestone without John Paul Leon, right?
That's true.
And when we talk about the meta text of this story, there's another Milestone story which is beloved, which was metatextual, which was Static Shock: Rebirth of the Cool, which was done by John Paul Leon, right? So we're kind of doing this spiritual homage.
Yeah.
And to take a minute to praise Valentine and the colorist Marissa Louise.
So good.
The first lines I wrote in my script is, dude, so thrilled to have you here. If you come up with a better way to do anything I wrote, do it.
Yeah.
Right. And there were two things that I just love. One is the way he composed that page, which has hardware and then icon and rocket and then static, like your eye goes in this curve down the page. It's brilliant, man. But the other one I like that kind of had this CSI feel is like when Curtis is in the lab and it's like the line that says the universe cried for revenge. And you like see Curtis look into the side and you're like, oh, he's going to do some badass shit. And then you turn the page and he's hardware. And I'm just like, like these are the moments that get us giddy. Like that's when you're like, wow, it's fun to do comics, right? Like I don't get tired of seeing that. And, God bless the artists. God bless the artists who take our words and just add so many more dimensions to these things. And one of the things that I discovered, and I'll try to be quick about this, I had no idea how many people who never worked on Milestone were fans of Milestone. And you will see that as you go further in the book. You're like, oh, this person really loves and respects this character. I was like, I had no idea this person knew this character was.
Yeah.
So this whole world is a touch point with so many people. And, credit to Marquise, who really assembled the best Avengers.
Marquise and Brittany, both of them did.
Yep. Marquise and Brittany.
Great job. And, part of Marquise and Brittany's job was dealing with me and Reggie about all of this. So, and also, didn't Mark Wade have a little bit to do with?
Yes, Mark was in like the first four.
I'm going to jump off while y'all do that, but thank you for inviting me. It was great seeing you guys. Stephanie,
good seeing you.
Nicholas, I'll talk to you later. Morgan, I'll see you tomorrow. Joe,
I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you. Appreciate you joining.
Good night, Dennis.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. This scene right here, I love this.
Well, those are your dudes. You love the Blood Syndicate.
This is my dudes, man. I love me some Blood Syndicate. Wow. This is a great angle. They look so like this picture goes so hard, man. And you've got the whole team, even Holocaust. You got my man Tech 9 still alive. And this image of seeing these police on the streets and the Blood Syndicate, kind of looking up, it's very evocative of the entire series, just in 2 panels. It was just them against the system, them against the world. And I know that's not even what's going on in this flashback thing, but it evokes a lot of emotions from fans of this time period. But going to the panels themselves, Joe, you wrote your contribution to the Milestone universe specifically was in that Shadow Cabinet series. And I loved when you got all sciencey and explained how the Q juice worked, about this perception affecting reality. I appreciate the fact that you reemphasized that, brought it back, kept it in this series. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So, I don't know how many people know this, but Dwayne McDuffie was truly a genius. And one of those is that he was a scientific genius. So he explained the whole thing about, I think it's called the Heisenberg factor, right?
Yes.
Right. And the whole thing about, is light an energy or a wave? And at the subatomic level, the answer is it's both. It's energy and a wave. And so what happened at the Big Bang was when the gas dropped, what you thought at that moment became so. And if you thought, oh crap, I'm dead, you're dead. And if you thought something else, then that was represented in your powers, right? And so at the subatomic level where perception affects reality, that determined how these people who survived mutated, right? And so the Bang babies are all, the way Dwayne explained it to me once, if there is a vertical line that represents all of humanity, all of the Bang babies are a dip. because they're operating, their whole structure is operating from the subatomic level. They're all dips, right? Oh my God, Fantastic Frankie is here.
Yo,
Hey, Fantastic
Frankie, one of the allies in getting the word out about this book and the challenge. God bless her. So, and look, as you can imagine in writing this, you can imagine that I did want to evoke Dwayne, that I wanted the spirit of him to come through me, because I feel like his narrative is the core narrative. And so I wanted to make sure that there were certain tenets that were part of this work.
And that voice of the sciencey stuff was definitely Dwayne. And I appreciated that. But you gave a little shine and a little intro to all of our main characters here, going to Virgil Hawkins, wielder of the living lightning, a bright and shining beacon who showed others the way. That's the line that really got me. Is because can you explain what you meant by that?
I meant two things. One is, and honestly, I can't wait to get to talking about Steph's chapter in the Suicide Squad. But what I meant by this is two things. Number one, it occurred to me that Static is the character that most people knew, and they met him through a cartoon, likely. And
you had him wear that outfit in this scene, the same one that people that recognize him from the cartoon would recognize him in.
That was an editorial decision for very specific reasons, and I think it was smart. I think it was smart to say, okay, when people think of Static, what's likely the core, the quintessential image, and it's this, right? So, number one, because he is the one that shines the brightest, it made sense for this narrative, and also because of who he is, right? It just made sense that Virgil Hawkins getting the powers would be like, I can be a superhero, right? As ridiculous as that sounds, he was like, I'm gonna make a costume and I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna help people. That's crazy, man. But he's such a good kid that of course that's his inclination. So he was the first. And so then Raquel can see him and tell Augustus, we can be that, right? So that was number one. And number two, it's metatextual, right? Like, when you look at the story, The New Frontier, DC Comics, The New Frontier by Darwin Cook, it's a big story, but at the core of it is the story of Hal Jordan becoming Green Lantern and the wonder of flight. So this big story with all these characters, at the core of it, it's the journey of Virgil Hawkins, right? So that's what it was about.
Then we come the hardware.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we always refer to hardware as a superhero, but in reality, he started off as a vigilante. He wasn't trying to be a hero. He wasn't trying to be, altruistic. He was just, as listed in his introduction, he was just an angry black man, as Dwayne described him.
Yes.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we get into what ultimately happens towards the end of this book.
Yeah.
I love that drawing.
Yeah.
This one of Edwin Alvin?
No, not that.
This one?
That one. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I love the change he did with the lenses over his eyes. That was a new touch.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think in the very first issue of Hardware, he had those. I think they were called like HUD, like heads up display.
Yeah.
And he actually had them. I don't know if he ever used them again after issue 1, but if you look at issue 1, he had that. So it's good to see them come back.
Beacon recognizes that the world is changing based on what his mother told him.
Based on this, yes.
Mm-hmm.
This moment, Edwin Alvin is killed.
Yes.
But we don't know who killed him.
That's right.
And I don't want you to give any spoilers for what I know will happen, which is the continuation of the series. In your head canon, do you know who killed him?
Not only in headcanon, but we all know who killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
We all know who killed him.
We'll save that for next time. But that sets in motion a chain and a divergence in the timeline. We have the fact that there's Edwin Alvin's in bed with a multi-governmental consortium, the Superman Project. Now, in the original Milestone, we had System, and now we have this Superman Project. Is that a divergence of the System into this new iteration of this new universe? Can you explain what are some of the changes, the subtle changes that we're seeing here in this divergence?
The Superman Project is a part of the new DC continuity. It was first introduced as an idea in Doomsday Clock by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. And then Mark Waid ran with it. And what he basically established was, I think they were the heroes of the 1940s. And due to McCarthyism, they all stopped. And the government was like, yo, we need heroes. So they basically brought together the geniuses and they said, make the heroes for the next age. Give people something to look up to, but we will control them, right? So Alva was one of those geniuses, but Alva pulled a fast one on them where he was like, I'll make Supermen, but they will be to protect my city and to protect me so that you don't try to make a move on me.
And that's an important point because in the original Hardware series, how Alva was viewed as the villain, right?
Yes.
But towards the end of the series, there you saw this redemptive arc where he actually wasn't as villainous as he originally appeared to be. So this is in essence a continuation of that concept that on the surface level, he's a billionaire, he's a jerk, he doesn't promote Alva, he doesn't promote Curtis the way that you would anticipate he would. But there is a somewhat altruistic motive in the creation of the Bang Babies from his perspective, so to speak.
Right, from his perspective, because he's a narcissist.
Yeah.
So from the narcissistic perspective, the narcissist is a humanitarian.
Yeah.
Right? But in reality, it's about him. Dakota is about him and everything that he controls, including Curtis Metcalf, is about him.
Does anyone know if Valentin Delandro does his art digitally? Because if this original art exists, I would definitely love to get this page. This is dope. Just saying.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
All right. So we have the new cabal of the president. We've got Sam Lane, who I believe is the father of Lois Lane, the general.
Correct.
Secretary of Defense. We've got, this is a different one. Joe, right? This is Sergeant Rock, is it not?
It's the son of Sergeant Rock.
The son of Sergeant Rock. All right.
Yeah.
And Amanda Waller, Secretary of Metahuman Affairs.
Right.
I love that you guys made Amanda classic Amanda because we've got, hey, let's assess this threat. Can we negotiate? And Amanda's like, nah. This is a suicide mission, fam. We just gotta wipe these people out. This is classic Amanda Waller.
Yep. And that's her speaking to the president in code. So basically, anytime they have a conversation and she says, this is a suicide mission, Mr. President, we know what that means. That means send your boys.
All right. And the president of the United States is a supervillain. Not too much on the nose, you guys. So then we get to Stephanie's section.
Yeah.
Stephanie, who knew? Except all of your loyal fans.
Who knew?
This was classic Suicide Squad storytelling, except it was better. And I don't mean to insult prior Suicide Squad writers, but right down to the characterizations, the interplay between Bronze Tiger and Captain Boomerang, where he's like, shut up, Captain Boomerang, or I'll shove this boomerang down your throat. Or it's just classic interactions. And the action. The action. Here's that poster that Joe was talking about.
It's so good.
The
Steven
mural.
drew that, I believe.
Yeah.
No, this is Carlo Paguglia.
Oh, there's Carlo. Okay,
Carlos
right.
Pagulian, yeah.
Oh, wait, Steven first page, Carlos, right.
Oh,
So that was my favorite thing to write. Literally just Blood Syndicate, light them up.
Yeah.
What a call
My
to
favorite
action.
character from Blood Syndicate was Tech 9. Having him say this line made me go. I was just like a kid again. It was just this was badass. This was badass. And then just to see him light up and just unleash his guns and start murking guys left and right, dead shots trying to take shots. It's not working because he's shooting against Fade. You can't shoot Fade. This was dope. My only criticism is I wanted so much more. This could have been an entire series, this one scene alone. But outstanding job. Which raises a question that Joe mentioned before. You're having Milestone characters go up against DC characters. And it's kind of weird because you realize just how powerful these Milestone characters were as original characters, right? Because Bronze Tiger ain't no joke. He's one of my favorite DC characters.
Yeah.
And Wise Son just takes him out with a punch. Did you intentionally make these Milestone characters kick everybody's ass? I mean, tell us about that.
Well, yeah, because I mean, they're already strong in their own right, but that coupled with the rage and the adrenaline that would come from that, I would think like this is the last stand. So I would think that would push them even further to just be as scrappy and to leave it all on the battlefield essentially because they have so much to lose. Everybody else gets to go back home. They're at home. So they have so much to lose. So it makes sense that they would give it their all and they would show up like they were considered the underdog. So if anything, the underdog is going to show up and take the opposition by surprise.
The fact that they're defending their homes, I think, is a big part of all this, because it's always been the Blood Syndicate. It's been all about.
Yeah.
I seem to be missing some slides, but on our next section, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Hardware versus Bronze Tiger. This doesn't even seem fair.
No.
But we have Bronze Tiger, who has always been kind of an ambivalent Suicide Squad member.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been the one who's had a bit of a conscience.
Right.
Can you talk about this journey and this scene and why it was so important to have him have this sort of come to Jesus moment with himself?
Yeah, because I mean, before Bronze Tiger goes off and learns all the amazing abilities he has, I just remember reading, I think it's like his origin, and he is upset that he's unable to protect his home, essentially, when his parents' house was invaded. And to think about what he is doing now, to me, that would be something that would soften his heart and give him a moment of reflection. He is the most likely Suicide Squad member to, carry out the job, but also not be afraid to push back and question. My favorite thing to do is to, through dialogue, to kind of really evoke the emotions of these characters. Fights are amazing, but fights with words that go along with the choreography is some of the reason why I love comics, especially superhero comics, so much. Especially when they're well done, it just a further impact on that. So Bronze Tiger was just that was the character to just really bring it home and make you feel that what is happening right now is messed up. And actually him being on the team kind of came about because we were all having this conversation in one of the writers' room where it's like, where are all the black characters? Like, if this is going on, how is this something that's possibly not on their radar? For some of them, sure, but for all of them, like, you think of a Jon Stewart, Black Lightning, Vixen, all of these characters, maybe even Jet might have been around during this time. Like, you think
Yeah,
of them and like,
that's a deep
what are
cut.
their thoughts? Yeah, like what are their thoughts, and why are they not there? So I thought it was very important, we all thought it was very important that if we were going to bring some black characters in, one, or from the DC universe, that it made sense for them to be there, and Bronze Tiger ended up being the one. Again, I tried to sneak Vixen in there, but she wasn't on the team at the time.
But he ultimately does get heroic. Classic Bronze Tiger.
Yeah. And right in the I'm just following orders line, again, who knew how relevant that would be? But
Yep.
yeah.
So the quote unquote Justice League comes in, but it's really the Trinity. Like
Mm-hmm.
they said, the Justice League is here. You could have had the entire Justice League. I mean, Aquaman, Green Arrow, everybody, Cyborg. You brought in specifically the Trinity. Why is that?
So hopefully it didn't come off as a God's just descending down and trying to, finger wag at children. At least that was not necessarily the intention, but also kind of the intention too, right? Because these are three characters, they are the Trinity. If they are to show up and in this world of the DC universe, then that is kind of how they would be viewed. Whatever the side is, they show up and everyone kind of pauses. I guess sort of like a, hey, mom and dad's here, like why are y'all down here clowning around? And it's also an indictment on them. Why are y'all just not showing up? Where
Right.
have you been? I think of Superman meeting Muhammad X for the first time and that conversation and everything that they end up having. So to me, it just made sense for the Trinity to show up because they are this iconography of the DC universe in its totality, and in this actual universe, them showing up that means something.
This last little bubble here, it says Batman, it's too late. You see what they did? This is our home. That's Static talking to Batman. Now,
Mm-hmm.
there have been comics where they've interacted. Obviously, they interacted in the cartoon, the Justice League, Young Justice cartoon as well. How at this point with this altered universe, how much do these characters know of each other? Like, for instance, does specifically, did worlds collide happen at this point in this universe as a storyline?
That is a good question, Joe.
Worlds Collide, I would say, did not happen.
Right. That no. And then but again also the thing here too, because we're playing around in different, timelines, universes,
Right.
and whatnot. If anything, it's Virgil knowing this is Batman because is Batman. You know what I mean? Like again,
Okay.
like this is why it was very important for these three to show up, because if you don't know anybody else, you know of the man in the red fancy underwear, Wonder Woman, and then also the guy wearing the bat ears. So you're aware of them in universe. So yeah.
Plus, it's Virgil. Like he's
Yeah.
smart. He's
Yeah.
he knows. Like he's gonna do the research. He's probably like, oh, there's a such thing as superheroes. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
take some pointers from this Batman guy. Okay, like he's probably researched all of them. I know even before there was some stuff he had. Well, we get to the next one. I know that Virgil did his homework on the different characters. So it's like him knowing who Batman was doesn't shock me at all. Doesn't shock me at all because of course he would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at what I did in the first chapter, one thing that I purposely did is you show like kids during Halloween and they're wearing like Superman and Batman costumes.
Hmm.
Right? Because that's kind of like a metaphor for, well, those are the default heroes. Everyone knows Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. So as Halloween, you dress up as them, right? But then when the Dakota heroes came, then they started dressing up as Static.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, to Steph's point, it's like they're in the air. So when they show up, you know. You
have the scene here. Bronze Tiger should never have been here in the first place. This isn't justice. It's oppression with extra steps. I've compromised enough of myself for this system. History is watching, and I fear I'm on the wrong side of it. Now, look, I know I can read into stuff too deeply, but I just get the feeling that there is a greater meta subtext in terms of this discussion here.
Absolutely.
Please talk about that, Stephanie. Because when we got to this part of the book, this is where things really started to just, the dialogue between this and the next chapter, it was something special. Please talk about this.
Well, I mean, contrary to foolish belief, comics it's always been political. It is a reflection, like most periodicals, of life and what is going on. History repeats itself. So to write something like that was really just pulling from past events that haven't happened too long ago, even before more recent events. So it was very important. Again, like this character, like a Bronze Tiger, who is pretty much an anti-hero, and again, like, he is going to carry out orders, but also he still does have a consciousness. So he is the one that needs to bear the weight of this. These are very real in this world. This is a very real consequence. It's something that he will have to sleep at night with himself. So is definitely something that I thought would keep him up at night. I think about Dwayne McDuffie's run on Just Leave America, and just some of the things that Bronze Tiger at that time was going through, him and Vixen, and them ultimately deciding that they were better as friends than lovers, because of just some of the stuff that they'd gone through together and where they were at that time in their lives. I was kind of pulling from that, and just how complicated this had to have been. This is not supposed to be cut and dry. There is supposed to be nuance. It is supposed to be layered. And you should be able to, when you read this, feel echoes from the past and also the present.
All right. So then we get to the crux of the matter. Luthor steps in. He's brought in his heavies with the Justice League, and he reveals his evil plan. He wants to prohibit all metahuman activity in Dakota, and he's brought in the Justice League as his heavies. Now, that's kind of something that I wanted to ask you. Is the Justice League being brought in? Are they being brought in by Luthor as a show of his force? Or are they here on their own volition because they said, "Hey, look at all this stuff going on in Dakota. Let's go check that out."
Yeah, they're not being sent here by the government. It's more of like this got big enough for them to be like, we need to show up and actually help mitigate this situation before it gets out of hand.
Yeah. Yeah. This is your section, Morgan?
Yes.
All right, let's get to it. So we have this scene. Icon, Superman, they have had history in the original Milestone. At this point, in your mind, have they met yet? Or is this their first meeting, or do you know?
I don't know if we discussed that, but I don't see why they couldn't have met.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have... He says, let's show them how to fight another day. This seems to be the theme, because you have this moment where you have to decide, do we go ahead and fight Luthor and his forces, which is in essence the U.S. government? Luthor's threatening to bring Superman versus Icon. But you have these people that are from this community, and they have a decision to make.
Mhm.
Do we fight or do we cut a deal?
Right.
One sort of bringing this message home is Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning,
Mhm.
who at this stage in the DC universe is working for Luthor as, I think it was like Secretary of Education or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Correct. Yeah.
We just had a Black Lightning run with Brandon Thomas, where he has a situation where it's kind of like, do I do the superhero thing or do I go my conscience?
This
Right.
is
This
the artist
page was-
from the Black Lightning series, by the way, Fiko Asa.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah. It was great to have him back working on a character that he did such a great job with. But this is a different stage of his life because we're in the past
Mhm.
where he's making certain decisions and certain compromises because he's trying to work within the system.
Yeah.
I swore as I was reading this that you see the scene where he's loosening his tie, and I'm thinking, oh, he's about to put on his suit and jump on the team and go fight Luthor, but he doesn't decide to do that. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, this was one of my favorite pages to write in this story, and I wanted to give, of course, Virgil and him a moment because they are, in some regards, similar in their power sets and have been compared and all that. But I also really wanted to tackle the whole idea of like, these are the kids in the room, and I'm an adult in the room who is trying to do the right thing, but realizing that like when you work in a corrupt system, you can't change anything.
Right.
And so he's realizing kind of in the same moment that like he's just as powerless as they feel. And I like what you mentioned about the tie. When I was writing that, him loosening the tie was, I think, he was uncomfortable. He was trying to give himself some breathing room. And then by the end of the page, when he kind of does his own way of inspiring him, it's him kind of like internalizing those words that he said to them for himself as well, which kind of brings him to his next eventual moment, like outside of the comics at this time period too. So
this is the line that got me at the end of this page. Nah, you're in here for the same reason that they don't value you.
Yeah.
When I talked about the more the story was progressing after this fight was wrapping up and going forward in the second half of this book, I kept thinking of a larger discussion because we've been having a lot of discussions about this book in a larger context of Black creators, Black comics, Milestone's legacy, Black indies, etc. This has been a bubble in these spaces for the last few weeks at the very minimum.
Yeah.
And so a lot of what follows from this point forward, where it talks about they don't value you, I'm feeling that there's commentary about the Milestone characters on a surface level, but I almost feel like it's almost a commentary about our community, our Black comic community as well. Can you talk about that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think a big thing with this story that I really wanted to tackle, and I kind of directly reference it towards the end, was the Langston Hughes poem, "A Dream," or it's called Harlem, but "A Dream Deferred." It's one of the first things when we were in the room that I kind of like put out there that like it felt for whatever reason. I remember reading this story or this poem in college. As soon as we started talking about doing this book, it like shot to the front of my mind that like this is Milestone. This is what happened to Milestone. It came out, it was huge, and then it was gone. And then it tried to come back a couple times, and then it would sputter out. And it was like Milestone was a dream, but it keeps getting deferred. And it kind of became the theme of this book that within the universe of the Dakota universe, like the big bang for better and for worse, like it was a dream, it was a promise of equity, and now it is being taken away, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I kept going back to that poem, and I was like, I have to include this in some way. Me as a writer, I love like when art can borrow from itself, and I think especially with Beacon narrating this, but like having memories of his mom, who's a writer. Like it was the perfect way to kind of like weave in the Langston Hughes Harlem of it all, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a dope moment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So here's the scene that we're talking about with the tie.
Yeah.
He has to make a decision himself. I mean, we already have the scene where Bronze Tiger makes his decision. He stands down.
Mhm.
He's working for the U.S. government. He's working for the big. I wouldn't say big bad, but he's working for the industrial complex.
Correct.
Jefferson Pierce, the same thing. He's working for this military industrial complex. But instead, as I said, there's a scene where he's loosening his tie. He has a choice. He could have pulled off the tie and put on his suit and gone fight with these kids.
Yeah.
But he recognizes that he has limitations where he is. And instead, he just says, I'm going to stand down. You guys do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I think about these black characters at DC. DC has more black characters than Marvel by like a lot. And oftentimes in these spaces, we hear these comments. People write, you know, you guys need to make more black characters. No, they don't. They got a lot of black characters. It's just a matter of getting them pulled off the shelf, dusted off, put a new gloss on them, and put them back out there in stories that have agency. And so for me, as I'm reading this, as I said, I sometimes reading this, as I'm reading this, I'm seeing these two prominent black superhero DC characters saying, I can't do anything about what's going on in comics, but you guys do what you got to do. It's almost like a commentary of these corporate characters and the restrictions that they have versus these more independent characters in these milestone characters. Am I just crazy, or am I reading too much into this? You guys, was any of that part of the subtext of what you're writing?
Not for my story. I think the thing that we discussed a lot with this was we wanted this to feel integrated, obviously, and I think that's why particularly me and Steph's stories have these characters that are kind of in their own way expounding upon this meta text, but also we didn't want to take the agency away from the heroes of Dakota, and I think that was the most important thing. Like, yes, maybe in a perfect world, if we had 100 pages, 150 pages, we could have seen a little bit more. Maybe Jefferson could have taken off the tie and the uniform would be underneath. But with what we had and what the type of story that we wanted to tell, we knew that like whatever decision that was going to be made, it had to come from these characters for it to feel authentic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get back to this. We have this moment where they're confronting President Luthor. And he's giving them the ultimatum. And you have this scene with Icon. You know, Icon gets a lot of flack, you know, by people that are less, you know, learned, haven't read his books, particularly the Reggie Hudlin run with Icon and Rocket. And they said, oh, well, he's a conservative. He's a black Republican. He had all these powers and he did nothing. He let slavery happen. And all this has been addressed in the comics. And this scene you have here where he goes, do you not realize how quickly and decisively I could take you out if I wanted, Mr. President? And you see his eyes glow. Oh, my God. I was like, do it. Do it. You know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about this. One of the coldest pages ever put in comicdom. Shout out to Reggie Hudlin and Neon Chills. Where Icon back in 1839 or whatever, back in the 1800s, they ask, you know, how come he didn't fight back? He did. He did. He wasn't as powerful as he is today back in those times, but he did do an uprising in those times. But the problem with him doing that uprising and severing the head of Jefferson Davis in that universe, in that iteration of the Milestone universe, is the retaliation that followed. Because when the uprising occurred, they just brought out more guns, they brought out more artillery. And who was affected but the people?
Mhm.
Right.
And
Exactly.
so, in context, because I've seen people say, well, how come Icon stood down? He could have mopped the floor with all those guys, and Superman wouldn't have done anything. You're talking to a man who's experienced this already. Literally the same storyline, the same kind of concept of I can use my powers and fight the big machine, but at the end of the day, the people of which I'm trying to protect will be the ones who are at risk.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a good full circle moment where you have this scene where he's looking all badass, and then Luthor reminds him, "Yeah, you could do that. You could kill me. You could take me out." But Dakota would lose.
Right.
Dakota would be taken out. Hardware's like, "Hey man, I got your back, son. Let's go. I'm about that action. Let's go." And he's like, "No. We can't do that. We can't do that. Can you talk about this?"
Yeah, I mean, I think you encapsulated it perfectly. The what they don't realize until they get to this room is that, like, not only is this a game of chess, but they're already in checkmate.
Yeah.
There is absolutely nothing that they can do but sign those papers if they want to save the rest of the city from the hell that will be raised if they keep fighting. And it's like they put up their fight. They did exactly what they could, but at this point, the people, the city of Dakota, it's all going to be collateral damage if they continue. And if their goal is to save as many people as possible, unfortunately, this is the only thing that they can do.
Right.
Yep.
These lines. First, Alva was killed. Now we're forced to take the fall. Something is off about all of this. But continuing the fight puts innocent lives at risk. We need to start thinking about what comes after the ink dries. Out of all of Dakota, we are the ones with the seat at the table. We need to leave it with everyone's best interest at heart. We'll figure out how to keep Dakota safe without capes. Make sure those aren't here understand what's at stake. If more is needed, we'll look to the Justice League. This seems like a cry from the Milestone characters, or at least a commentary, like they're cutting this deal with the big. I mean, it's almost like Luthor's representing corporate comics or DC or however you want to phrase it, and they're like cutting this deal to keep themselves alive. And it's like, hey, do you want to sacrifice this so that we can think 5 steps ahead and look at the big picture? Can you all talk about what this scene represents?
I mean that's just it. And it's they can't do anything else but do this if they want to protect the people that they've sworn to protect. And I think Icon is a little bit more optimistic about what that future looks like, and that's why I think the next line, Hardware, says something like, you know, this is the first time the Trinity's come here, and it took a war zone for it to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hold my breath. But
I think it's a line from like when Black Lightning first met the Justice League or Superman, where he's like, "You never come down to this part of Metropolis."
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, that goes back to Batman the Hill from 1999.
Sean
Martin raised, right? It's like these dudes ain't scared of you because you ain't never been here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think part of what's at the core of this story is that the heroes of Dakota don't look to these heroes as their saviors. They are the saviors. They are the Justice League, right? But you know, a lot of people have a perspective which is uninformed because they're outside the room.
Mm.
But what's happening inside the room, most people will never understand, and they were not there.
Right.
And one of the things that I remember Dwayne telling me in the way back, because if you remember in the original Icon, I think it was like Icon 5 or 6 when they're fighting the Blood Syndicate. That's when Icon reveals like he can do energy blasts.
Yeah.
And I think I remember asking him, like, why did he wait so long to do that? And he said, because he lives in a world of breakable people.
Right.
Right? He can't hurt the breakable people. Right? So the entire city is full of breakable people, man.
There's something to be said about the fact that the Milestone characters realize the only ones that can save them in this situation are themselves. And
yeah, because this whole book, we wanted to make sure that their agency was always there.
Right.
It was always the intent that if they were going to be removed from the table, it was because they took themselves off of it and not because someone else did.
Yeah. And the Justice League being there was literally a non-factor to the outcome.
100%.
Yep.
Chocolate, bring that back up. All right. So it was nice having the scene where I mean, they had to get a little dig in. They had to be a little pushback, and it came from the youngins. You know, I thought that was kind of cool. This scene right here, this panel speaks volumes. The handshake between Luthor and Icon, and the reaction on the face of Virgil.
Wait, go back to that rocket panel. I love that panel so much.
I had a question about this panel.
That line stuck in there. Yeah.
Why is Luthor have this weird dot shadow effect around him?
I think it's just a stylistic thing. You know, the old school comic book. Was it the Ben-Day dots?
Yeah.
I think it's interpretation of that. Yeah.
It was a throwback to how they used the dot technique back in the day. It's kind of like Luthor's representing the past, or I don't know, the commentary on that. But I thought that was an interesting choice because you see it here, but you also see it. I think there was another spot where you see him have the same effect.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, Virgil's ready to fight.
Yeah.
The one powered bang baby superhero, the first one, he's ready to fight. He felt the burden of responsibility being Dakota's first hero to keep that flame alive. But then he mentions, look, we're going to have some people in this area. I'll be at the community center not far from your house, Virgil, on Cowan Avenue. Shout out to Dennis Cowan.
Shout out.
And you see this is a great panel. The expression on his face, the horror, as he's wearing a superhero mask, which we know in superhero culture, that's the purpose of the mask is to preserve your identity and to protect your loved ones.
Yeah.
So this zoom in with the horror on his face as he's wearing his mask, it's like the mask is irrelevant. I thought that was well done. Shout out to Fico.
This was the first image of the story that popped into my head before I started writing anything, was that particular panel. And I built everything else around it. I was like, this is what I want to build towards. And it's tragic, honestly. Yeah.
It's hard some stuff.
So then we have the signatures on the contract.
Shout out to these signatures. Like the day before we sent this to the printer, we went back and forth on whether this document was going to be blank or not. And Marquise hit us up and he's like, "Do you guys want to each take one of the characters and write their signature for the document?" So that's our handwriting on there. We each took a character. I took Icon. Joe took Hardware. Stephanie took Rocket, and Nick took Static.
Oh, it's got their real life name: August Freeman, Curtis Metcalf,
Full government.
Raquel Irvin, Virgil. Yeah. So each of you, so who did who?
I did Icons, Augustus Freeman, the first one.
And Curtis? Oh,
I did Curtis.
Yeah.
Nick, did you do Virgil?
Yeah, I did Virgil.
And Stephanie, you did Raquel. That's dope. That's a nice little touch. That's your actual handwriting.
Yes.
Yeah, that's dope.
But I had to. I'm right-handed, so I mean, I just had to come up with something because that's not the way I write.
Yeah,
but I was like, okay, I got to make something up for Metcalf, right? Like, Metcalf's a person of money, of education, so he learned cursive in school, right? So it's like, okay, we got to go back to more traditional cursive.
Damn, Jill, you're such attention to detail. That's why you're such a good writer.
Hey, man. The characters, man.
It's just this visual of the despondent Milestone heroes with their names on this contract, just sort of shining their lights away, just speaks on a multitude of levels for me. Luthor's flying away. We'll keep our eye on Luthor. It's like, we know how this ends, but that's fine. While Augustus and Curtis sought alternative ways to keep Dakota safe. Now, that's the next story, because this is all taking place in the past. Do any of you have a story in your head as to what Icon and Hardware do subsequently to keep Dakota safe?
Just like we all know who killed Alva, we all know this too, but we plead the fifth.
So exactly, there are some little clues in the epilogue that Nick wrote. There's some visual clues, but as to what's really happening, yeah, we can't talk about it.
All right. Well, I'd like to hear that.
Oh, come on.
In the background. All right. Big reveal. Now, in Milestone 2.0, Raquel was never pregnant. In fact, there was a scene in what was the final storyline? The Milestone crossover.
Icon versus Hardware?
Yeah, an Icon versus Hardware, where the two Raquels meet from 1.0 Milestone and 2.0.
Oh, no, that's the 30th anniversary special.
The 30th anniversary special, thank you.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You're pregnant? That'll never happen to me." It was kind of interesting. But ultimately it did. What was the other than the fact that we needed Amistad to be this character, was there any debate about whether which one of the Raquel's futures you should select?
There was a lot of debate, actually. And I'll also say this was, if that panel of Virgil was the first image, this was my second image, like this final image here. This was the second image in my head that I really wanted to convey. And for me personally, I felt it was important. Of course, we knew Amistad was going to be in this book. He's narrating it. He comes from the future. But I think it was important for this particular story to show that Raquel is already pregnant, because it gives her an outside reason to maybe not be fighting as hard as Virgil is. Like, she's got another thing to fight for outside of her identity as Rocket. And it's a life that she's going to be ushering into the world. And I also think it's particularly poignant just for what this story represents about looking towards the future, the dream deferred, all that type of stuff. So I'm happy we were able to have it on the page as opposed to just, insinuating that it happened later and that's how Amistad got here. I think it was very important for this story to kind of have this and to have this be a reveal in this moment.
Yeah, I figured there'd be some thought behind that process.
Yeah.
All right. Back to Edwin Gallman and Nicholas J. Bride.
Mm-hmm.
Beacons hurtling back to the future. Do we have an idea of where in the timeline this is? Because we know Virgil is, what is he, like college age at this point?
Yeah.
Is this like our present, or is this our past? Is this our future? Do you have any idea on that?
Like somewhat present, future-ish. Like it's like caught up to like modern times. He's got a smartphone. They're just tapping the thing. Like he at this point he's around the ages of like 19 to like 21. He's in that age bracket now. Like he's in college, and this is the first time that Beacon, after witnessing all of that, he's now about to like jump into something he can actually physically interact with. And It's like where is Static? By the time we catch up to Static, he's cool, he's older, and that's where this story, I guess, one story ends and another story, begins, I guess you could say.
You talk about Virgil being older in this portion. There's another series that you're currently working on, the Static and Batman Beyond series. Is
Shout
does
out
anything
to
add to that story at all?
Hmm?
Does anything in this series conflict or add to that story at all?
Well, I mean, outside of there's not really a conflict. I mean, outside of the fact that Beacon is straight up from that storyline, but I mean, there's a few visual like hints, where you see the way that Virgil's hair is.
His hair, yeah,
and it's like, oh, this is kind of like the hair that he gets when he becomes like a full-grown man. The funny thing was, we were talking about this with like Marquise and Edwin had shown the designs, but I think it was always the idea for like Virgil's hair to always like gradually change. Like when I was working on the character, it was like he had like the braids, and then he had like the freeform locks, and then he's had like regular locks, and now he's got like these locks, and then we see him as an adult, he has like the long locks. But it was always supposed to be like an evolution of his character until he became the Virgil that we know. But of course, obviously, Beacon going back in time, he's seeing all this other stuff that's like, this is different. This is different from the timeline that I know. What is going on? Like, what changed? But he knows that Virgil is like the key to all this. So,
it really was a good literary device using Beacon in this manner, because now at this point you hear his inner voice where he talks about, well, Mom told me about what happened in the past, and I know that this is not what she described to me. And as he's searching, as he's going through time, but he has no effect on what's going on around him and he can't interact with anyone. But at this point, he's now propelled himself back into the future. But things are slightly different.
This is our present,
This is our present.
He's still not back in his time yet. Like his time is still a ways away.
But he knows that Virgil's not being what he's supposed to be at this point.
Yeah.
This is that Marty, we got to do something about your kids moment, right? I'm old, excuse me. I've seen your past, the effects of Alva's death. It changed the trajectory, but not the destination. You're the key to saving the future. This is pure metaphor right here. He is the key to the future. The catalyst of the change, a divergence in the timeline, is Alva's death. But Static remains the key to Milestone Universe's future. Can we talk about this?
Oh, well, I mean, it's so funny because like when writing this, I don't know what I would tapped into when I wrote this. Like I was frustrated, about everything in the world, and I think I just cared very deeply for the character. So like when it came to talking about Static and him being, callous for the future and all of that, there's it's funny you're on this panel, because it was this particular panel where he says, your present is hollow, echoing a promise of a future that will never come to pass. That is, unless you're willing to be callous for that future. That whole bit, like, I don't know where that came from or how it just kind of just got on the page, but I just wrote how I was feeling. And it's kind of like present day Static, all the stuff we're seeing, it's like, it's hollow. It's like we're doing all this, we're doing, we get some stuff out there and it's like these little mini series, and it's like, what is this for? Where is this going? Are we doing anything with it? Why isn't there, and it's echoing a promise of a future that will never come to pass. Where is the continuation of the Milestone stuff? Where is our movie? Where's our animated series? Where's all this cool stuff that's supposed to happen that hasn't happened? And it's kind of like, are we going to push this character and support this character and push it in direction to where these things can happen. So it is extremely meta, but it is one of those things that's like, look, I only got one shot at this, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna let it be known how I feel. And I guess like do Beacon, like it was kind of like the perfect thing because he's from a timeline where this stuff does go on. So for him to see that it's like, you know, Virgil's kind of just like throwing in the towel. He's like, "The fuck is this? Like, this isn't how it's supposed to go." You know, so that's kind of the explanation for why that's written that way.
I for one, of all the parts of the book that really moved me, this was the part.
Oh, thanks.
This exposition, I felt that, particularly as an old school Milestone guy and someone who genuinely has loved these characters for his entire adult life. I needed to hear that as a fan. I did. It was somewhat cathartic because it mirrored the feelings that I as a fan have for these characters. So I thought it needed to be said, and I'm glad you did in that manner. So thank you for that.
I mean, you're welcome. Yeah.
This was kind of cool.
I love this panel. Like
this whole
Edwin drew the fuck out of this panel.
He really did.
He really did.
God, that's so cool. Sorry.
No, don't apologize, man. This is why it's here.
Yeah.
This page. Woo! Talk about this page, man.
You know, now this, okay, so this whole part was me. I wasn't done. I was still angry. And I just got that. I just fucking, just start typing. And in a weird way, there's a lot of layers to this particular segment where it's Beacon like talking to Static, but also it was kind of like me talking to the character, like because I've spent so much time with Static, and it was kind of like I knew him. You know what I mean? It was a weird thing. But on another level, it was also me kind of like tearing into myself too. Yeah. And it was just, it was the kind of, loving you is complicated type of thing. Like just letting it out. And
I mean, let's read these lines here. What you've done, the hero you were, the hero you're fated to become. You cannot begin to understand the weight that you carry, what you being Static has meant to others, who you've inspired to be better. Mom and me included. I'm sorry that losing to Luthor hit you hard, but you think that's an excuse to give up? Is that who you are? Mom, Augustus, Curtis, the Syndicate, they all found ways to keep fighting, but what about you? I came to you because you're the spark that lit the fire. It's not too late for that spark to come back. Stop this lukewarm hero shit. Whatever you need to embrace that part of yourself again. If you don't get land, look. Bro, you went all in.
Yeah.
I view this as an ode to all of you who toiled to bring Milestone back. And there's a whole laundry list of the best and brightest artists and writers in the business who have worked on all these iterations of Milestone. And, this is like a big thank you and acknowledgement at the same time of them saying, look, you're toiling away. Don't give up. Keep trying to bring this back. And this is a dope moment, man.
I think it's important for the fans to know that this team, and there are people in these rooms that are fighting for them. You know what I mean? and we hear all the stuff online. We see your concerns, we hear your complaints, we take all that stuff into account. And it's like somebody said earlier in this talk that like there's certain things that they're not in the rooms and they don't know what it's like being, you know, in those rooms. They don't know what it's like to have to fight this fight. They can sit on the sidelines and just be like, oh, why aren't they doing this? And we're not seeing this represented enough and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, you guys wouldn't last 5 minutes. You would not.
Yeah.
Like the things that we had to shoot down and like save you guys from, you don't know. And it's true. It's so
It's
true.
very true.
Like, you know, there's things I've seen online where I've seen people, you know, just come out of this. It's hilarious with these sounds, but like I've seen people say like all types of wild stuff, you know, online about how we should handle these characters, or how, you know, we shouldn't be seen as like the savior of this or that, or, you know, or you know, they should go to this company or that company or blah, blah, blah. And all I could think to myself is, this is exactly why you are not selected for the job. This is exactly why you're not working on these characters, because you're, what Dennis said, you're just trying to divide everybody. And it's just like, I don't, and wisely choose not to engage in like the foolishness. And it's like, this is where it goes. It goes into the work. You see all that, and you're like, I'm gonna write about this. And you know, and then people read it, and then they're like, oh, well, they did hear that, you know.
That's right.
Yeah. Should probably watch your mouth, because you just never know the type of rooms that we are in and the folks that we try to advocate for, right? So, you know, we're in these spaces trying to navigate the best way that we can, all of us. And it's either, when we came together for this book, for anything that there was pushback for, we could have just been like, you know, ego, you know, forget it, we're not going to do it. And then you get something totally different, or you don't get this book at all. So you're either going to figure out how to do the work or support the work. As Prince says, you're either here to inspire or stop. Which is it going to be? You want these characters. I'm just saying, like, you want these characters, and it's so easy to say what you would do as a backseat driver. You are not behind the wheel. It's so easy to give secondary notes. It really, really is. And I just want to take a moment for like everything this team was able to accomplish to give a story that had meaning for these characters and wasn't just some Black History Month bullshit.
Yeah,
Right.
We put thought into this.
Yeah.
We care about these characters. It is really wild to think that we will be working on these books that we're not fans. We are just fans who happen to, what do they say about luck? You know, whatever that saying is, like, we were putting out the work. We happen to put ourselves in a position or be in a position that we could have this type of impact, so that you hopefully can feel inspired enough to do what the fuck you need to do.
Yep.
Put that over. Put that over where they used to be.
You
please.
can either tell the stories that you want to tell, because that's the whole point, right? The whole point is for us to be able to tell the stories, and for storytelling to not just be among the few, but because ego gets in the way and it's not you, then it's everybody else's problem.
Ooh, speak that gospel, Stephanie Williams.
No one wins that way. No one wins that way. Do your job. You shouldn't have this much time to talk if you're doing your job. And if you want support from the community, then you need to be a part of the community. Not just taking. You have to give.
Emotional damage.
Wow.
First of all, can you imagine having to write anything with Stephanie Williams on your team? Like, do you have
how did that writer's room work? I mean, that's impossible.
So, like, I'm in the room with Joe Illidge, Morgan Hampton, and Stephanie Williams. Stephanie Williams, I can't just hand anything in. I have to really try. And I'm like, okay, I know that Stephanie is going to look at this. And the thing is, I know that Stephanie is cool with Vita. And I know if I don't write this well, Stephanie will be like, did you just
I'm calling Vita up.
You know what your boy's
Why are
doing?
you
You know
here?
what your boy's doing?
Because why are you here? I mean, no, seriously. Like, I don't know about anybody else, but I know what I had to do to get here. And it wasn't easy. And I also know what I would have to go back to if I don't fucking show up. And I don't want to go back to that shit. I got into comics. It's going to take somebody prying me out of here to get me out of here. We are all here in this room because we fought to be here. I tell you, if anything, you should feel inspired, because if we're able to do it, you're able to do it. You want your characters talked about in the same way that Milestone is, put in the fucking work.
Oh yeah. Listen.
Understand.
Wow. First of all, I mean, God bless you, Steph. You know, I mean, what put me here is that a man of great vision died at the age of 49. Dwayne McDuffie died. And I was like, okay, this is the mission. It does not end. And that's it, right? So when I see people having the testicles to sully his name, a man who died for this, stresses that were put on him when he was younger made him weaker. So we lost him early. And you have the friggin' gall and absence of respect for your elders and him to regard him as anything less than favorable. You design a narrative that Milestone failed. Man, listen, you don't get to speak.
Finish him.
You just don't get to speak. And so, to Steph's point, the journeys that brought us all here, we have endured to be here. This is not a game. Like, this is not a party. This is the noble responsibility. And if people understood that, if they understood the nobility of their responsibility to tell stories, if they understood the sacrifices of people that came before them, if they understood that before they were born, people got dirt under their fingernails, some days they felt victorious and some days they felt humiliated. Some days they were elated and some days they were broken. If you know that, how dare you disrespect them? How dare you not understand that this is all for our future? How dare you take our might and fracture it? But what the Dakota Incident 100K Challenge has proven is that there is enough people who believe in this. There is enough of the community that gets it. And when we put all our muscles in one direction of productivity, we can do amazing things.
Can't stop that train.
Okay, so
Fatality.
that's it, man. This is the moment. The world is upside down. And just when you think you're in the worst timeline, you read something else and you're like, oh, the timeline is worse. But one of the only things that's going to get us to the other side is story. That's how we're going to keep inspiring each other and uplifting one another. It's a noble cause.
It is.
And I feel truly blessed to be here.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the end of the story. Beacon has made a fervent plea to Virgil to wake up, to remember who he is, to remember the calling that he had, to remember those that helped bring him along the way. That whole Milestone family, all those heroes. You're the beacon, you're the light, you're the brightest of us all. You got to come back for all of us. And in this final moment, he remembers his name and he goes Amistad. In a moment of remembrance, and he goes and he gets his costume. This panel right here is time for Static to fight back. Which begs the question, because it says at the beginning, at the bottom, a new beginning. What's next?
I can't say.
We can't.
You were waiting for that question.
What I'll say, I think what I'll say that we've all kind of had, that we've all talked about leading up to this is our job on this book was to position Milestone put in the best possible position to do whatever it needs to do to come back. And I think we can all agree that we did that.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever comes next is not up to us. Of course, we want more, but we've done the work. You know. So now it's just all we can do is hope.
Yeah.
There's no excuses at this point. This book is sold out everywhere. 100K challenge accepted. Implore all of you who don't have the book or want to get more, go to your LCS. Ask for a re-up. Let's re-up on this book. Tell them to reorder.
I just realized something.
Yeah.
What?
No, it's something that Edwin did, but it's nothing. It's just something that
what is it?
The layout of Virgil's bedroom is very similar to how it was drawn in the run that I did. I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait a minute, that's exactly where his window and
That's funny.
Like I just realized that. I was like,
you're like, I know that bedroom.
Yeah, that's
Edwin freaking Gallman.
He killed it, bro. Like he's so good.
This panel is immortal.
Yeah.
Edwin Gallman, Andrew Dalhouse. This panel right here, it was all about this. All roads led to this.
Mm-hmm.
This is immortal now.
Can we talk about how we came to this conclusion for this panel? Like how many iterations of this?
Oh my God.
We sat there and we're like, well, how should we do it? Should it be in the alleyway? Should he have it over his shoulder? And I was like, no, it's gotta have aura, it's gotta have this and that. I was like, well, maybe he should have like he's holding it up. And I'm like, no, it can't just be him holding it. It's gotta be something like more to it than that. Oh my God, we can't forget this. The thing that really sells this whole sequence was the rain. That was a note that Stephanie gave me. Stephanie was like, wait a minute, this whole sequence, it should be raining. And it was like, and I knew exactly where she was going with it. I'm like, okay, because that way when it's not enough for just like the lightning to shoot out of his eyes, it's like, oh, what if it's like he's so mad the weather is affected by this?
Snap.
That's cool. And so that was a note that Stephanie definitely like tossed my mind. I'm like,
oh, now I gotta go back. Hold on a second.
That's good.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, dude.
It's raining.
I said, let's get into the Martin Scorsese of it all. Let's see.
Yeah, that's right. It's the layers.
Yeah.
Damn, y'all are artists.
It makes it more dramatic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But yep, that was Steph. And we were just like, yeah, this is not a bright, shiny day.
Yeah.
What is going on with the electricity coming out of his eyes? and you see his necklace going up.
That's so Edwin definitely did that. Like the gold necklace
It's
part
dope.
was like, he's black.
It's dope.
Like, yes.
That's just
It's dope.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
man.
Let's if you guys would just I know you've been here for a while and I appreciate your time.
It's
But
like
people
church
have been-
service.
People have been, yeah, well, you know, there'll be a collection at the end.
No, it's all good.
Close the doors. Ain't nobody leaving until we get some.
No, please.
All right. Chocolate. Let's get into the questions. People have been waiting to ask their questions. Start with the super chats. I knew you'd pick that particular one. God Visions, thanks for making Amistad relevant. I recall years ago there's a version of Rock that wasn't a mother at all. Given how significant Black motherhood was integral to her, love to see Ami grown up. All right. A chocolate is drunk on power right now. Bro, you don't have to play videos forever you want. Blurred's Underground, shout out to Michael Davis. On behalf of all of us at Blurred's Underground, thank you to everyone on this panel for continuing the legacy of Milestone. It's ours to keep. We'll keep sales going. You know, shout out to Blurred's Underground. He told me they sold out today.
Yep.
Like within hours.
Props to
Like,
Mike Davis and his staff, and props all the retailers out there who are part of this whole mission.
Yeah. We're gonna get more into the retail aspect of things as the year progresses at BCL. Jojo 440, thank you for the super chat. Dakota incident made me emotional. To the creators, we've always supported you guys for showing us respect. We have internet will promote Milestone. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Would love to have a Milestone fight game. That's
one mission at a time.
Let's get the
That's
comments.
wonderful. Though.
Not sure if this has been answered, but is the static we see here at the end the one who shows up in DC KO Kids Are All Fight? That's a good question.
Yes.
Yes.
This is before that.
This is before that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Will we see a live action or animated? Still, don't know.
Above our pay
This
grade.
is coming back. Maybe.
Exactly. Like complete the mission. Let's get him the ongoing series, and then that becomes more possible.
Yeah. Do you know how many units are needed in the second printing to reach 100,000?
No. We don't have that information.
Next question. Shout out to God McVisions, another $5 super chat. How was the decision made on who Verge would ultimately be with Daisy and Raquel, considering the 90s teases? And what inspired Metcalf Innovation Collective?
Sorry. That's pretty funny. Well, I know we have multiple different, Static he's always had different, flings, I guess you could say. He always has a woman there. But the thing was, I know he ends up with Frida and one iteration, that Dwayne had written, which I'll respect. And then it was like, well, we want to do something different. And I was like, well, what if we, especially at the time, it was like, he should definitely end up with Daisy in this iteration.
Yeah.
And the reason for that was it was just the climate was definitely like clamoring for like Black love, to be shown in full display. And it was just like, well, Daisy also makes sense for this version of, Virgil. So then we just kind of went with that. So it's like, it's your Gwen Stacy, Mary Jane type of situation. Which one does he end up with? You can have your preference. It's just, I couldn't let my boy just go out there and like not beat the allegations. Like, no, he's gotta get with a Black woman. Just like let's let him have that, at least in one timeline. He does it, and a lot of fans, to my surprise, really, really like that. They were like, oh, I actually like this pairing. Obviously there's people that are peers. I'm like, no, it should be Frida, but I'm Team Daisy. So I'm like, I'm gonna put him with Daisy. I know there's that one drawing that Torrin Clark did where Static is trying to shoot his shot at Raquel, and I'm just like, God, why did you do that? And it's that cover cracks me up. I always talk to Torrin about it. I'm like, I can't stand made Virgil like that. Like he's not that thirsty. Why just? But it was funny, But yeah, no. That was kind of the reason for it. It was just like, well, let's do something different, and give that portion of fans that have wanted to see that happen. Let's let them have that at this version.
And historically speaking, the cover from the original Milestone with the condom. I mean, it just that makes sense. That makes sense.
There you go. See,
Mr. Akabelon, when would you guys know if you can move forward with another collab?
Whenever they come to us and ask us to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, what about outside of Milestone? I mean, you're in this writer's room. The ideas are flowing. You're probably like, hey, that's a great idea. We should do that on our next project together.
Are you saying we should create the next Image Comics? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
This is a Black Comic Lords exclusive.
You stop.
If only we had a company that was geared towards putting comics together and having logistics. Like I think there's this company called Luminous or something. Like some guy.
There is that company. Well, that company is there to in part continue the mission and empower people towards independence. But it's a continuation of the mission.
I'm just saying.
Missed out Milestone, right? So
Saying.
put it this way. I would be very happy to be in a timeline in which the four of us collaborate together on something. And so, we don't necessarily have to wait for a corporation to do that. So let's just see. But everyone's busy working. So these things don't happen easily. There's a matter of timing and, the universe kind of doing it the same way the universe put us all together in this room.
Yeah, this was really special to get these people all together in one thing.
Yes.
One singular mission to make it right. Yeah.
Again, that writer's room must have been nuts.
What's really beautiful about it? There was no clash of ego.
No.
Everybody was just like, we are on the same page, right? Okay. We've had a group chat thing, a text that just the phone just going off, and I'm like, God.
There were a few times I wasn't on camera because I was like, my face is gonna crack, so let me just stay on.
All right, next question, Chuck.
Multiple drafts.
Will Hardware and Blood Syndicate be getting upgrade and new suits?
Only time
will be revealed.
The time will tell.
Exactly. We'll put it this way. Curtis is never satisfied. So, I mean, and you saw what he was doing on that splash page with Beacon pointing at us, right? You saw what people were doing, right? And what was he doing? He's making something.
Yeah.
He's making something.
Mm-hmm.
Tech 9 taking on the Sharpshooters of DC. A guy can dream.
Man, that would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
That was my dude. Love me some Tech 9. Next one you got, Chocolate went to the bathroom. He's gone. He's in control. He's got the buttons. Chocolate.
Oh my goodness.
Jesus. He's leaving.
Well, tell him to hurry
I
up.
was trying not to hop on stage. That's the only question left.
Oh, okay.
Focus on me. Focus on me. Okay.
So this is what we got to do. All of you have been indoctrinated into the Black Comic Lord family, except for this guy. Whoops, that way, right there, Mr. Nicholas J. Bribey.
Oh fuck.
That's right. That's right.
Let's make him sing. Nick, I'd like you to look at the screen, say your name, and say, I am a Black Comic Lord.
A Black Comic Lord. Do I want to Okay. This is so.
Don't screw it up. There's only a couple
Got
people
this.
watching.
My name is Nicholas Draper Ivy, and I am. What do I got to say?
Black comic. Now you got to redo the whole
Come
thing.
on.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. Fine. All right. My name is Nicholas Draper Ivy, and I am a Black comic lord.
Yeah.
Where's my applause?
Yeah.
Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My man Chocolate's shaking his head behind the scenes, and Chocolate's going, "You didn't rep for Brooklyn, son. What you doing?"
When I think of the title Black comic, I just imagine like just the most elite of niggas just sitting in a circle with hoods on, just like, you are not worthy of being.
That's only at our annual meeting. I don't even know how you even know about that.
Oh, okay. You know, and they each take it down as just like the most pristine do-rag you've ever seen.
Joe, have you been telling him about what we do at the thing?
Listen, I plead the fifth.
Joe's like FIFF. All right.
I plead the fifth.
Like, I think I was talking to Chong about that, and he was like, "Yeah, the Black comic." I was like, "That's so serious, Black comic lord. That's kind of intimidating." Okay, sure. He's like, "Yeah, you got to meet
in more
he
ways.
said it. He's like, "Yeah, you got to meet with the Black comic lords." I'm like, that sounds like an indoctrination of some kind. What?
It is. Stephanie, Joe, and Morgan will tell you about the secret handshakes and the passcodes and all that stuff.
Oh, nice. Look forward to that. Yeah,
you'll be all right. Listen, everyone in the chat, thank you for enjoying this show, staying with us. I wanted to extend a personal gratitude to all four of you and your team. I mean, there's a lot of people that are involved that aren't here. As a long-time Milestone fan, I've said this before. In many respects, Milestone made me, and I would not be a Black comic lord were it not for Dennis Cowan and Milestone. And I think that's not a singular story. I think these comics have meaning. These comics have weight. And there's something to be said about being classic to the point that it stands the test of time. It's important for our community. It's important that it exists. It's important that it thrives because it has inspired so many generations at this point. Kids looking at a character and say, "Oh, wow, that's a superhero that looks like me." Another kid looking at a piece of writing and saying, "Wow, this writing by McDuffie is incredible." Another person looking at Nicholas Draper Ivy's art and say, "Damn, this dude is cold with a pen. Maybe I could do that someday." It's important. This is the best in comics, and if anything, it should inspire us to try and do better. And that's the ultimate goal, is to keep moving forward and to keep ascending and to bring up everyone else along the way. Morgan Hampton's an example of that. He came up through the Milestone Initiative where he was brought up along the way. And now he's one of the hottest writers out there. That's what it's about. Each one teach one. But with that, thank you all. Appreciate each and every one of you. You're all welcome to come back anytime. Joe's got the keys. He'll just pop in whenever he wants. Black Comic Lords, we got you.
All right.